Morning. It's July 3rd and we're going to do our garden update at the beginning of the month. These are Georgia Jet sweet potatoes that we grow vertically. You can see now they're reaching up to the soffits of our home. And I've had to pull a few of them down that were curling around into the gutters. But these guys are just doing beautifully. Here's a purple cabbage in a little root pouch. Here's some strawberry runners that we've cut off of the plants and we've planted. There's a few extra tomatoes. We're going to give these to our daughter. She's moving out of state, so they're going to take them with them when they leave here in a few weeks. Here's our ginger plants. They're doing really well. A few more beets down in there. We'll probably get down in there and harvest these beets. More ginger in a little container. Here's the Saroa. Excuse me, I gotta walk through the gate here. Carlos is in the way. Here's our Saroa plants. They're in containers. These are in 9-gallon containers, and these are in 5-gallon buckets, and you can see they're doing really well. We do have some blight in these potatoes. These are a blight-resistant variety, but we've had terrible blight this year for some reason on our potatoes and tomatoes. But fortunately for us, we have started growing blight-resistant varieties. These are our Haulinator tomato plants, and they're doing good. We've got a red one down in there. Another Haulinator plant. Another Haulinator. And back there are our cherry tomatoes. You can see these guys are starting to turn red. Nice clusters of cherry tomatoes all through here. And that trellis is 7 feet. So it's already, they're getting to the top of that. So we may have to start cutting the tips out of that. Here's our cabbages under our insect netting, and I put these screens up with the heat we've been having to keep it from scorching the top of the cabbages. And get down in here. We did have a little splitting on the second one. We've already harvested the first one because we had 2 days of nothing but rain and the head split. We've got a little splitting back there, but not too bad. Maybe about the first 3 or 4 layers of, well, it looks like 5 or 6 layers of leaves. But we'll be harvesting that this week after we finish eating up the second or the first one we harvested. Here are our 2 different varieties of lettuce we let go to seed. Get you some scale on these guys. Here's our little dog. You can see these things are beautiful. Beautiful little yellow flowers on them. And this is growing a flowering head now. This is Butter Crunch lettuce. And this is Paris Island Long-Standing. And here's the carrot box. These are purple carrots that we got from Baker Creek. And maybe if I do this real easy, we can get a shot at both of these cabbages in there. So there's our second one. It's doing great. And we'll be harvesting that one this week. But here's our carrots, and they really seem to start taking off when we got these high 90 temperatures, and I thinned them out. So they're doing really well. Here's our row of blueberry plants with our herb plants in between. This is a thyme plant. We cut it all the way back to the top of the pot once, and it's starting to come back out. Our blueberries are starting to finish up. We had a great crop of blueberries this year. Here's our rosemary. And these are just in containers so we can overwinter them inside the home. Blueberry. And another thyme plant. This is actually a cutting we took off of our original thyme plant, and they're very easy to propagate. You just clip you off a little stem like that and put that stem in water and it'll root, and that's how we made this plant. This is where our garlic was. We've harvested our garlic and we've amended the soil with some rabbit manure and the rabbit bedding and some worm castings, and we've covered it up to keep the weeds out of it because we're having a terrible year for crabgrass. And here's a couple of little cabbages that's growing in Omaha steaks cooler, and it won't be long we'll go ahead and get these guys out of here and get them picked. And let's see, we'll give you a shot of the... Here's our row of, we've got about a 50-foot row of blackberries and Haulinator tomato plants in front. And there's our strawberry box up here. So we'll go here first. These are bare root strawberry plants we got early in the season, and we planted them in cups, and then we planted them here. We've been harvesting. This is a Charlotte variety. We've grown many different varieties of strawberry, and if you've never tried the Charlotte, I think you should give it a try. Out of all the varieties of berries we've tried, that's the sweetest. It almost tastes like strawberry candy, and we're very happy. These are everbearers. And here's our giant Marones. They're starting to reach the top of the cages, and they're not really tall plants this year like we've had in the past. We've had them up to 7 feet tall, but we're getting some really nice peppers in there. In the bottom here, you can see that. So with any luck, we'll get some of these to turn red here in maybe another month or so. And then here's our long carrot, Japanese long carrot, growing in the pipe. And it's doing nice. I'm trying to make this video early. Sorry about the lighting. The sun's not really, it's just now coming up, but it's not up over the trees yet. We've got some things to do, so we want to get this done because I got to leave here shortly. There's an Elsa Craig onion in a pot, a little small pot. And there's another Marone plant. Here's some more lettuce that we had covered up with a shade cloth, but it's been so hot that even under a shade cloth it bolted on us. You can see that. So we'll save this, let it keep growing because we're still picking the leaves off for the rabbits. And here's our Spanish onions, and I'm surprised at how large these guys got. So they're doing pretty good. We had a issue with some blight, but I've been spraying, and you can see that on the leaves. Powdery mildew or blight. Not sure what it is, but we got attacked pretty heavy with our blight this year. And here's our blackberries. You can see these bushes are doing really nice, and we've picked 3 or 4 harvests off of these guys already. This is a Haulinator tomato plant growing in a fire ring pit that we picked up at the curb. It was a stainless steel pit. The bottom was out of it. So we set it here and filled it up with soil, and it's growing our Haulinator tomatoes, and you can see in there they're really doing well. Blackberries, a lot of red berries. I got to get out here when they start turning black before the birds get them. They're tearing them up, so you can see some in there. We've got a few videos that we made last week of harvesting them. Here's another little giant Marone. It's now reaching the top of the cage, and You can see down in here these peppers. So they're doing pretty great. More Haulinator's. Starting to turn red. You can see a little blight on these plants too, but we've been spraying, but it's just been a bad year for blight here. More down in there. Another Haulinator. And these things they've outgrown the cages. I'm going to have to go to bigger cages next year. You can see where we put a stake in the back and tied the strings from the top, wrapped it around the vines loosely, and then tied that to the top of the cage to help keep them from snapping off, and the ones that are hanging over the cage. There's some more blackberries. I'll get in here and get these this afternoon when I get back from what I have to do. We got to take a bunny to the vet this morning and have him neutered, so he's not going to like that, but got to do what you got to do. So here's some more blackberries. You can see. Nice tomato there. We've got a really red one in here. I'll probably get in here and pick this one today. Okay. Now we'll go around to the other side over here. So we'll start right here. We've got a screen up there, and that's covering our basil plants. We've got 3 little basil plants in there, and that's helping with the sun so it doesn't change the color of the leaves. When we was having the high 90s, this acts as like a shade cloth, and it's not bleaching out the leaves like it was doing on the bottom, so they're doing well. You can see them down in there. Maybe I can get you like this. So the basil's doing well. Here's a romaine lettuce plant that we've got going to seed, so we can start our own romaine lettuce seeds next year. Here's our yellow beans, and they're starting to put on beans. You can see the little beans down in there. And these are our pole beans, Kentucky blue pole beans that this variety came from Hall's Tools, so we grow these every year, and they're doing great. They're just outgrowing our trellis. I should have made it a little taller, but I'll get to that next year. And here's a Haulinator cucumber plant. It's still doing great. We're really happy and pleased with these guys. They're producing very well. We're up to, I think, I'll have to do a count on that again. I'll go back through the videos and see where we're at on these guys. But we are starting to get into some the little, what are they called? The little beetles. My train of thoughts, I've lost my train of thought here on what these guys are called. But we're cucumber beetles. There we go. We're starting to get some cucumber beetle damage on them, so I got to get out here and spray. But they're still doing great. There's another little Haulinator plant that it's not doing as well as the other one, but it is growing up under the house here, so it's not getting as much sun. But you can see it's still producing great tomatoes in there. And here are our Yukon Gold beds that we've harvested the potatoes. We did a video last week of our potato harvest, and we planted these back. And we harvest them out of these buckets, and we planted these back. And when we planted them back, I took some garden soil, and this is where we're going to put another box in. We took it down early in the season because it was just rotting away. I just haven't got the lumber to rebuild this one yet, but I threw some soil on the ground and just laid these little blocks around and buried the bottom of the buckets to see if this round of potatoes do well. I've noticed that every time I do container planting of potatoes, they do a lot better if you bury the bottom 2 or 3 inches of the bucket in the soil, so that the roots can grow out of the bottom of the bucket into the soil and get a little more nutrients. And here are the other two Haulinator cucumber plants, and they're almost touching the end of this cattle panel. So this is a 12-foot long cattle panel. We've got two plants in the middle here, 3 feet apart, and we're training them, one to grow this away and the other one to grow that away. And it's just about filled this in. And they're, like I say, they're producing phenomenal. We'll grow these again. And here's our sugar baby watermelon. And they're reaching the fence now. I've been weaving them in and out of the fence and weaving them in and out of our lattice. You can see the little baby watermelons on there. We've got 2 or 3. Had a really nice one over here. There it is. So you can see that. I think the birds or the squirrels got the other one. We had 2 of them that I hand pollinated, but the other one was just, it was gone. So I don't know what got it, maybe a squirrel or something. But there's our really nice little sugar baby watermelon. And we have another plant here that we've tied the string to some barbecue skewers and wrapped it around the stalk to get it trained up to this trellis, and we'll weave it in and out like the other one over there. And here's our Elsa Craig onions that are starting to finish up. We've had to harvest a few of these guys, but you can still see how nice looking these guys are. So we're going to give these about another week or 2. When they start falling over, when the necks get soft and the necks start falling over, we'll harvest them. And we harvested these 3 days ago. Actually, 2 days ago. This is our 3rd day. Sunday. Yes. So we harvested these Sunday, and we've got them hanging here because the weather's been nice. We'll have to bring them in this evening because we're going to get some rain tomorrow. But you can see how big these guys are. And I just hang them here on the fence and let them air dry. That's one that split. That's a double one. And here's a really nice one. So there they are. There's our little onion holder. We use our fence as our onion holder to help dry them out a little bit before I get them in there under the front porch. So there's our garden update for July. Everything we're growing this year. Now that we're starting to get some rain, everything's starting to look better. And with any luck, Lord willing, we'll get a lot more produce out of these plants, and we'll keep you updated with the videos. Thanks for watching.